Hello people, welcome to the second part of my Equalizer reviews. The road to Equalizer 3 is on, seeing it next week, cannot wait. I've reviewed the first film in the trilogy. If you haven't seen my review of it, I'll leave a link to it in the description. This is the review of the Equalizer 2. Once again, this film is directed by Antoine Fuqua, once again stars Denzel Washington, and he's with Pedro Pascal this time. And he teams up with him to find the person who killed his best friend. Now, the Equalizer 2 is weird because in some ways it improves on the original Equalizer, but in some ways, in fact in most ways, it's actually worse than the original Equalizer. So it's kind of in that middle ground of quality. When this film hits, it really does hit, but it misses a lot more than it hits, to be honest. The story is really where it misses, really. There's around 3 subplots which don't really have anything to do with each other, apart from one towards the end. And you kind of just think to yourself, why was that in the film? That could have been cut out, and you could have just developed the other plots instead. For example, the main plot, the investigation plot, where Robert McCall tries to find his friend's killer. And the reveal is very good. It's something that you don't see coming at all. There's little hints throughout the movie to see who it was, and it's set up very well, and you don't agree with the bad guy's motivation at all. In fact, he's really not understandable. He's just, oh, I killed her because of this. You know what I mean? So you don't really fully understand his reasoning. The second plot line is with this teenage kid called Miles who Robert treats like a son. You know, he's very good at art, but he's going down the wrong path. And this features a great scene, probably my favourite scene in all of the Equalizer movies, in the crack house scene where Robert McCall is teaching Miles a lesson, threatening him and everything. It is such a great scene. It's the best scene in the trilogy.
You got talent. You got a chance, and I want to hear about your environment and what your mama didn't give you and the white man won't give you no shot. You got a chance. Use it while you're still alive.
And then we get the worst plot line where this old man tries to find an old family member and tries to regain possession of a painting he did. And he's a likeable guy and you like his ending, but just didn't need to be there, really. Yes, he just didn't need to be there. He's pretty much first act filler. He's in it mostly for the first act, and then there's a little scene to conclude his arc at the end. And that's pretty much the entire first act. It's mainly just filler. The plot doesn't really kick into full gear until about the 40-minute mark, which is really annoying. There's like a couple of scenes to move the main plot along, but they don't really do anything. They just set it up very minorly. The first act is basically just there to tell us that Robert McCall is a nice person, and he'll save anyone that deserves to be saved. And that's cool, like, it makes him a lot more likeable, but we could cut it down a little bit. Or, even better, why not integrate this into the story with Susan? Because we don't really know Susan that much, the person that gets killed, so would have been nice to know a little bit more in her relationship with Robert. And in fact, the entire movie feels like it doesn't know which plot line it wants to focus on. Do you really want to develop the old man plot line? Do you want to develop the Miles plot line? It doesn't really know, and just is with these long stretches where it hinders the development of the main plots. And this movie visually also takes a bit of a step back. The visuals in this are fine, like it's competent directing, you can see what's happening, the editing's fine in the action scenes. In fact, I feel that's one thing that improves on the first Equalizer. But the thing is, there's no like wow shots or anything like that. And I also think the music takes a step back. I really do like the music in the first film, but with this, it's just generic action music, to be honest. But as I said, when the movie hits, it really does hit. There's some great moments in this film. I mentioned the crack house scene. Best scene in these films, 100%. The final battle is not as good as the first films, but it's still really cool. There's this great bit of tension where the bad guys are searching for Miles in Robert's house. That's a very tense scene. However, that does lead into another flaw. Unintentionally laughable moments. There's quite a few of these. There's a few moments which are there to be taken seriously, but you just laugh at them. For example, in the aforementioned tension scene in Robert's house, it's very tense, I love it, but then just to make sure that you know that the bad guy is bad, he breathes on a two-way mirror, draws like a sad face in it, and is attempting to shoot the mirror because he thinks that someone's behind it. And stuff like that just makes me laugh. It just drains a lot of the tension in the scene, to be honest. But where this film really does step up is with the action. The first action scene is of course the worst, and once again, like the first film, the action gets progressively better. But I will say that the first action scene wasn't edited poorly like the first films. It was a lot better. There's a lot better choreography. Denzel's still doing most of his own stunts, which I really appreciate. And of course, he is the main heart of this film. Denzel Washington is so good in this movie. In fact, I think he's better than what he was in the first one. There's just these great scenes where he's talking to someone which he just knocks out the park. Especially this dinner table scene where we reveal who the killer is. Such a great scene. He just presents that dialogue so well. Manages to make Robert McCall intimidating but nice at the same time. He also has great chemistry with Pedro Pascal, who we know is going to be great. He's a great actor. Everyone likes Pedro Pascal. But he also has great chemistry with Ashton Sanders, who plays Miles. And in fact, Ashton Sanders really is good in this film. He's great. He makes Miles a very likeable character. You feel for him, even though he's going down the dangerous path, which you really don't want him to go down. Everyone here is doing a pretty solid job in this film. The performances are all good, the action is really good. There are moments with the story that really do stand out. The final battle, as I said, not as good, but it's still competent and well done. But the Equalizer 2 does have a lot of story problems, to be honest. It really drags sometimes, and you're just thinking, why is that there? Can we just get back to the main story, develop it more? Because it feels like by the end, the main stories don't really get developed much. It's quite disappointing. There is a lot of scenes that could be cut out in this film. And once again, like the first film, way too long. It's shorter than the first film. It's just over 2 hours, this film. And again, should be about 100 minutes. 105 minutes, somewhere about there. A bit too long for my liking. So, The Equalizer 2 is a solid film. It does have a lot of problems with its story. But it's competent enough. It's watchable. It's enjoyable. It's a solid sequel to the original. And I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Just a bit lower than the first Equalizer film. And yeah, guys, those are my reviews of Equalizer 1 and 2. My Equalizer 3 review will be out on next Tuesday. Really excited to see it next week. Cannot wait. Really excited for it. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have seen the Equalizer 2, what do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you think it's better than the original? Let me know. And let me know your thoughts on the original film as well. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. See you later.